Mac, can you think back to the last time that as you were doing something,
Mhm.
you said to yourself, I've made a huge mistake?
Oh, that's a great question because I think through a lot of stuff before I go and actually do something. I'm pretty well thought out. I'm not very spontaneous these days. Off the top of my head, no, nothing comes up.
I'm so calculated on Mac.
It's more laziness than
Yeah.
anything.
So yesterday, I was going to take my son to a movie. I got a pass for Garfield, a little screening. Gonna
Wow,
impress him, be like,
what a
hey, want to check
brag.
out Garfield?
Mhm.
Brag. And ahead of time, had to have some lunch. I said, do you want to have some Dave's Hot Chicken? You keep seeing billboards for
Delicious.
Dave's Hot Chicken. He was like, oh my God, Dave's Hot Chicken. So we went. And as we were ordering, I'm like, just give him the dullest flavor and just give me whatever the hottest flavor is. And they're like, Reaper? I'm like, yeah, whatever it is. And they gave me a sheet of paper to sign. And I'm like, oh, that's
Mhm.
kind of cute. So I signed the paper. We sit down. I take a couple bites of this chicken and immediately know that it is going to come out of me.
I have never been the adventurous type when it comes to hot food goo. I hit my limit around buffalo mild, that type of stuff, because then I start sweating anyways. I turn red anyways. I can't do that's my upper limit. I can't handle the spice level. So I don't know why, if you're trying to have a nice Sunday with your son, why you would torture yourself
Just
like that.
before a movie, mind you.
Right,
And
right.
I'm pretty sure that I've had this specific sandwich in the past. I think I just ate it slower. Like I took my time when I was eating it.
Hmm.
But the way I kind of scarfed this down, as we were then walking to the theater, I'm sweating. My mouth is all red from the heat. And I'm like, oh no,
Yeah.
I've made a huge mistake. And then I brought my son into the bathroom stall with me, and he had to sit there horrified as I was throwing up.
Jesus Christ. That's why he didn't like the movie. You
Oh,
guys left
speaking
the
of the
movie
movie,
because
yeah.
he was thinking about his dad losing his soul in the toilet for the whole 30 minutes you were there.
No. So I will say this, and I think we're allowed to share spoilers, not spoilers, but like a review of this movie. Garfield is a mashed potato sandwich. It stinks.
Goo, I texted you this a little bit earlier. I think I've seen 19 movies on the year now, maybe
Yeah.
18, and almost half of them have been dog shit.
Yeah.
Different levels of dog shit, some diarrhea, some solid, but still dog shit. And as much as I have liked Dune,
Mhm.
this has been a pretty bad year for movies so far.
Yeah, and I was actually going through the schedule of movies coming up earlier because I don't want to brag, but I tease movies at work, what's coming out this weekend.
Mhm.
And I was writing them out and I'm like, "Uh-oh, we're hitting a real bad patch and this last good patch wasn't that great."
Yeah, it's gonna be by the end of the year, we might have trouble rounding out a good 4 for the Gooey Vault.
And then speaking once again of being at that movie on Sunday, the most excited my son, my 3-year-old son was with the Garfield movie was when I said, "Do you want to leave about an hour in?" It's like, "Yes." Yes, I do.
One goo, three, yeah! Goo. Jaws 3. Goo. King of Queens. Goo. Meryl Streep. Goo. Entertainment.
I'm goo.
And I am Mackay Pfeiffer.
Why don't you take
Oh,
your white ass back
best
cross
believe
8
somebody's
Mile?
paying the Pied Piper. All the pain inside amplified by the fact that I can't get by with my 9 to today,
Yeah.
we are discussing 8 Mile. 8 Mile was, I believe, and I'm not even joking, even though I'm giggling while I'm saying it, like a seminal
Yes.
movie in the childhoods of Goo and I. It came out in 2002, the beginning of our 8th grade year. So Goo and I are 13 years old apiece, soon to be 14, and
Also
we're
point out that we are white males.
white males.
Yes.
So Eminem, and there's no shame in this. Eminem certainly, whatever level of fans we were of rap prior to Eminem, Eminem doubled, tripled, quadrupled that.
Yes.
It just made it more accessible. That's just simply a fact. Um, and also at 13, 14 years old, you are so suggestible. Like, you can so easily fall into trends, or so easily do this, so easily do that. It was just this movie hits at the absolute perfect time for Goo and I.
I think this might be the first movie and maybe the only movie that I stepped out of it being like, I think I should do that.
It's one of those things where, there's that all-time, online clip of, "I just wanna do hood rat shit with my friends,"
Yeah.
and that's the feeling you get leaving this movie.
Like, I thought to myself, imagine a life where around every turn, there's a rap battle.
Once a week, you gotta defend your honor.
No, and like, all I knew in my head was that as long as it rhymes, that's good.
That's a start, for
That's a
sure.
start, as
That's
long as it
definitely a
rhymes.
start.
Now,
Now
Mac, let me ask you, how did you see this movie at first?
so if I recall correctly, it was a group of, like, 5 or 6 of us, and we had to have someone's older sister buy the
Had to, yeah.
tickets for us, at Fresh Pond Movie Theater in Cambridge, and that's how we got in. The sister didn't even come in with us. She had to come with us to buy the tickets so that we could get in.
I went with my father and my younger sister.
So
Enjoyed
she
a
would have
big
been
old bucket of
12?
popcorn. Yep, we
Yeah,
both loved Eminem. My dad liked Eminem. I think my dad liked the story of the movie. It's a pretty good story.
yep,
Obviously there is a sex scene that was extremely awkward.
2 of them.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was quite something.
Yeah.
But it was a
No
movie that we had to see. If I didn't see it, I don't
Oh,
know what would have happened.
yeah, and speaking to that and our age, our demographic, should I say, I think at least 2/3, if not 3/4 of our 8th grade yearbook, our middle school yearbook, our class listed their favorite movie, males and females, as Lose Yourself, or as 8 Mile, and favorite song as Lose Yourself.
I
It
actually
just
had my song as 8 Mile. I wanted to be different. That's a good song too, though.
yeah, it just absolutely dominated that school year for us, and like, we liked Eminem anyways, but if you saw that movie already loving Eminem, it just took it to the nth degree.
And
And for
really, it's just like the Eddie Murphy joke from Raw, where he said, as soon as Italians saw Rocky, they suddenly thought that they could fight. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, I can fucking freestyle.
and
I can rap battle people.
I was trying to remember. I don't think MySpace was quite out yet. This might have been
Mhm,
right before MySpace, but it's in that era of
mhm.
internet, and what we would be influenced by. I was very much what some folks might call a poser. Then there's a worse word for it, but there is certainly records of me wearing like a bandana under a sideways cap. Like, I was like living that life.
I did that for at least one summer. Yep.
Yeah, I thought I was the coolest cat out there. So I call it my white chocolate era. That's really defined that. That was my screen name. I had
Mhm.
dog tags made on the 8th grade DC field trip that said white chocolate, although I misspelled chocolate. I did 2 A's instead of 2 O's. So
Oh, you're so dumb.
that's really great for me. So that's really where we're at
Really. And
in
also, Mac,
2002.
I took a cue from this movie and I said to myself, if and when I get into a rap battle, I'm going to attack myself first. Because if I attack myself first, what's the other person going to do?
Right, right. I honestly think there's a generation of people molded by that final rap battle. Where like, I gotta get out ahead of this. I gotta be self detrimental here.
And we need to point out right now, before we say anything else, the final 25 minutes to 30 minutes of this movie, is that when the rap battle at the shelter starts up again?
Yeah.
A plus cinema.
Dude, I would argue 90% of this movie is A plus cinema. It's
I don't know. Going back and watch some of this, I knew every scene that was coming up. Like, I even said to myself ahead of time, like, do I have to rewatch this movie? I know this thing point for point.
I had
And
such a good time
I
rewatching
guess
this.
my only issue with it is that while I knew all the point to points, I think every scene went just a smidge too long.
I don't know. I don't know about that, Goo. It's just about a bunch of younglings fucking wreaking havoc in the city of Detroit.
Also, could you imagine this? Could you imagine if when did we start the podcast? 9 years ago?
2016,
Okay,
15?
so what if I said to you, Mac, I want to start this podcast. It's gonna be this
Yeah,
great sports podcast. We're gonna
yeah.
reach all these people. And as soon as my cousin turned on the microphone, I just started throwing up everywhere. What kind of a start to this career would we have?
That's totally different though. It
Well,
would be
is it?
more
Is
it
it?
would be more akin to the first time we did something in front of a live audience and you just started throwing up everywhere.
No, it's just like Mac. We're gonna talk about the Mets pitching versus the Cubs offense, and
Cubs
then
bats versus Mets
yeah,
arms.
and then you're like, "Goo," your response. Oh, but you want to be a rapper?
Oh man.
Okay.
All right. November 8th, 2002. That's the setting for 8 Mile. It hits theaters right before the Christmas season. A rated R drama and music. I guess they just could call things music now. So
I don't know
sure.
if it is music because, like, they
The rap
really
it's like Pitch Perfect. There's music weaved throughout and there's music overall.
no, but the music is like it isn't naturally flowing throughout. Like they
The
take a
rap battles.
no, but they take a step off to the side to do it.
And there's also a great like 94, 95 soundtrack in here with some
Yeah.
really good hip hop songs.
I've always thought of you as being a shook one.
Great. And they use it again at the end for the
Yeah.
rap battle beats.
Yeah.
Runtime of 110 minutes. So it's a pretty crisp hour and 50 minutes. There's not much wasted time in here.
I don't know how crisp it is. I'm not gonna
Oh,
lie.
fuck you. Fuck you, dickhead.
Like, I think everything at the shelter is amazing. I think the sex scenes are great, but some of it is a little repeaty.
No, I like the it's essentially a day in the life, but a week in the life of Jimmy Smith Jr.
Right, but within like hours of things happening, of like, oh, I heard you choked. That just happened. How'd you hear about that?
Well, it's not. Yeah, I mean, word of mouth. You know,
Everyone's playing telephone. Hey man, I heard you choked on a banana. I didn't do that.
Goo,
That's what
riddle
that guy
me this.
told me.
This is the most dumbfounding thing, and I didn't know this. This
Mhm.
might be the first time I ever went on Roddy T's for 8 Mile. 75% from the critics, which honestly is higher than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
54% from the audience. How does 8 Mile have 54% from the audience?
Okay, so I don't even care about that. I want to give the critics credit here because I think what they realize is that while yes, he's kind of playing himself, Eminem does a damn good job.
A great job, and also 77 on Metacritic. So
Yeah.
the critics got this, and it's a compelling story. It's a pretty well made movie for a guy basically telling his life story on an
I'll
8
say
Mile.
so with that, I would like to now take a kickflip off of my own point right there and
Okay.
ask why not just make a biopic?
Oh, because I think you want some creative freedom to make the story more compelling. That's an easy one for
But
me,
yeah,
I
but
think.
all they really changed though is that his daughter is now his sister. They asked him to just have his normal colored hair to, differentiate from his, blonde. So like it's really similar. Why not just stick with what it
I
is?
don't know if it's really similar. It's the only main similarities is that he's a poor white rapper coming up in a predominantly black industry.
He lives in a
That's the
trailer park.
similarity.
His
Yeah,
girlfriend is either pregnant or faking pregnant or he lied
I
about
mean,
it. I don't know. There's a lot going
what a
on there with
bitch.
Pensacola. And then also, his mom, Greg, won't go down on her.
Kim Basinger. Is that how you pronounce it? Basinger?
Yeah, more like Bassinger, right?
I
Because
thought she's great as white trash.
her ass is in it.
I love Kim Basinger.
That's a butt double, right? We're
No,
assuming
just definitely Kim Basinger. She
that's
doesn't
a
mind.
butt. That's
She
a
doesn't
butt
mind
double.
popping a titty or a
That's a
cheek.
butt double. I'm saying butt double. Money
No,
on butt double.
disagree. Again, 54% from the audience. I don't know where that came from. And like not for nothing. If you're looking like in the grand scope of like musical artists that made a movie or acted in a pretty big budget movie that weren't previously actors or actresses, Eminem's on the short list for best job. Like Whitney Houston's up there too. Like
Ice Cube,
well,
Boys in the Hood. He's really good in that.
yeah, Ice Cube's up there. There's 3, but there's not many where like the 50 Cent movie is not very good and he's not very good in it.
But okay, I think the best comparison to this would be Private Parts with Howard Stern, where he is first. Howard Stern's actually pretty good in that movie. He's
Yeah.
playing himself, but it's a heightened version of himself. And just like Eminem at the end of this movie, Howard Stern at the end of his movie said, "That was good, but I'm never doing this again." They both said the exact same thing.
Yeah, Curtis Jackson 50 Cent went the opposite way, but he also did a faithful adaptation of his life. That was
Yeah.
more a biopic than anything else, whereas this is loosely based on. This is like um I don't know how to describe it. Like when this is like when people thought The Departed was about Whitey Bulger, but it was actually an adaptation of a completely different story just set in Boston. That's sort of what this is to Eminem's life.
This would
Uh,
be like if we did a movie about this podcast and we called it Mark and Drew.
Goo.
Yes.
8 Mile is written by Scott Silver, who has a pretty interesting resume. He's only written like 7 or 8 movies over 30 years, but it's this, The Fighter, The Finest Hours, and Joker are 4 of them. That's a pretty impressive
Yeah,
resume
it's
for a man
nice.
that's
Yeah.
only written 6, 7, or 8 things. Upcoming, he's doing Joker Folie à Deux at the end of this year, and he's doing the untitled Hulk Hogan biopic. So he's got a couple decent things on the horizon there. Writing pretty good in this. Now, I do think um, I'm sure Eminem had a he doesn't get a writing credit, but I'm sure he helped out with like the dialogue amongst the friends.
Well,
I'm
I
guessing.
also think that they had to lean into how Eminem spoke as
Sure.
well.
Yeah, no doubt.
And also like the second half of the movie, like just right yelling next to all of his lines.
Good. This is directed by Curtis Hanson. He did the Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Also won Best Adapted Screenplay, and he directed L.A. Confidential.
With Kim Basinger.
Yep, damn right. This was his biggest hit at the box office, though. 8 Mile made 116 million domestically, 242 million worldwide. Like by far his most successful movie. So for a guy that's directed, I think he's got 20 plus directing credits. 8 Mile is his single most successful one.
Also, by the way, we did way too much research on this movie, maybe the most research that we've ever done on any movie. And one of the directors who was in the mix to direct this film was Quentin Tarantino. Could you imagine that sex scene, both those sex scenes, but the focus on the feet?
As much as I like Quentin Tarantino, this movie would be worse if Quentin
It
Tarantino
would
directed
be
it.
a lot weirder.
Weirder and worse. It would not have, because this is like crisp and pretty quick. Tarantino's 8 Mile would have been 2.5 hours, and there would have been some pretty weird shit in there.
He was working on Kill Bill at the time.
Yes, there
Yeah.
you go. Synopsis follows a young rapper in the Detroit area struggling with every aspect of his life. He wants to make it big, but his friends and foes make this odyssey of rap harder than it may seem. Pretty good.
So, yes. And you know what I love about it is that the entire movie, Eminem is like, if I just win this rap battle at the shelter, my life is all set. And then at the end of the movie, he does win it, and nothing changes about his life.
No, it's the vote of confidence he needed. It's the boost for him
No,
to take that next step.
but also, is there cash that you win? Do you win cash?
You probably get a little bit of a cash prize, I'm guessing. Yeah.
Because his friend, Glasses there was like, you can
Is.
live off of this now. He's like, what are you doing? Go back to work? You just won this rap battle.
No, I think you probably get a little bit of cake, sure. But it's more so the confidence booster that he needed to go and record his demo. You know, he's got like a proof of concept now, and that's really what this movie's about.
Because just imagine living in Detroit where you have your winnings from the rap battles, and then your mother just won bingo.
I
Like
think I think
you
that's
can
why I
go to the
like this.
Burlington Coat Factory and
I
live
think
like
that's why I
kings and
like this
queens.
movie so much, though, is it just takes place over a week. They don't give us the first 20 years of Eminem's life, you know? It's just like you sort of can read into how he grew up. They place you right in, drop you into a week in the life. They give you a couple compelling storylines, and you dip out with a
Because
really satisfying ending.
Clarence also just won 3 straight of these, I think, like 3 to 5
Don't call
straight
him
of these.
Clarence yet. Don't call him
That's his
Clarence
name.
yet.
His name is
Yeah,
Clarence. He
we
just
don't
won 3
know
of these in
that
a
yet,
row.
though.
And I don't think it's changed Clarence's life at all.
No, for Clarence, it's more of a power thing, I think. There's a little bit of a power struggle there in Detroit Rock City, you know?
Clarence goes, so he's like, why didn't you guys just get a fucking divorce?
Goo!
Yeah.
This movie stars Eminem as Jimmy Smith Jr., aka Bunny Rabbit, B Rabbit.
Thumbs up.
I for whatever reason, I just the Rabbit nickname just works. I like the little story they give of when he was a little kid, he had big teeth like a bunny rabbit, and that's how he got the name. And apparently, that was based off of the real life fact that his relatives called him Mickey when he was younger because apparently he looked a little bit like Mickey Mouse.
Can I point out how stupid that is?
Well, what are you gonna do?
Mickey Mouse has a beautiful smile. He doesn't have buck teeth.
I was thinking more maybe big ears for Mickey Mouse. I wasn't thinking smile wise.
Oh, I thought it was the same thing with like the buck teeth.
Or maybe it could have been a teeth thing. I was thinking ears wise.
If he had big ears, I would have called him Dewey, like from Malcolm in the Middle.
Cool. A real
Yeah.
cool fun fact about this movie, and for a guy that had never acted before, the fact that he's in every single scene in this movie is really impressive.
Once again, that's what reminds me about him and Howard Stern. Howard Stern is in every scene of his movie.
Fair enough. That is fair enough. I feel like Howard Stern would have had more creative control than Eminem, though, but that's
I feel
neither
like they
here nor
both had
there.
the same amount of control in their movie. And
Maybe
then,
that's
so like,
possible.
on the Howard Stern show, not to go into like a different direction, but like actors have asked him, why didn't you do more movies after this one? And he's like, that was too hard. I didn't want to do that anymore.
Well, because most actors aren't in every scene in a movie. That's why it's so hard. So instead of two
But
or 3
also,
months of work, you're
these two
doing
guys
a year of
also
work.
aren't trained actors too. So
Yeah,
it's like,
that's true as well.
like I want to go and be like a broadcaster again. I want to go rap again. Because even so when he wasn't acting in this movie, he was writing music.
He was writing the soundtrack. Yeah.
Yeah.
And beyond that, if you're not a classically trained actor, let's say you have a scene coming up the next day where you got to memorize 20 lines. If you don't have a good process for that, that might take you 5 hours instead of like an hour, like a regular actor.
Yeah,
So
because if you
that
look at
plays
some of
into
these
it.
scenes, Mekhi Phifer had the lines written on his forehead for him.
Also in this movie, Goo,
Yeah.
Kim Basinger as his mom, Stephanie. Mekhi Phifer is Future, aka David Porter, as he gets called at one point. This character was based on Eminem's friend Proof, R.I.P. Proof. I think he died in 2006. Brittany Murphy is Alex, who brings like the perfect skanky sex appeal to this role. She's great at just being that. It's a perfect take on it. And Goo, here's a little fun fact that I didn't know until today.
Yeah.
She admitted on an interview in Letterman, I don't know, 20 years ago, that they actually got romantically involved during the filming of this movie. And
Her
I
and
would say
Eminem or her and most of the cast?
her and Eminem.
Oh.
And I would say you can 100% feel that in their sex scene.
Yeah, she kind of has like that Luann Platter voice going on in this too. Of course, she voices Luann in King of the Hill, like that like the deeper voice.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Evan Jones is Cheddar Bob. A couple other people that read for this role, Goo. Seth Rogen and Jason Segel.
Imagine if
Which
they
is
casted both of
interesting.
those guys instead and they just flipped them every scene.
Segel's too tall. Seth Rogen would have been interesting there.
No,
Very
what if they
interesting.
casted both of them and they switched them every scene?
Omar Benson Miller as Soul George. He's the big dude. D'Angelo Wilson as DJ is. He's the preachy one.
Mhm.
Those two are actually brothers, although I don't think say that during the movie. Eugene Bird as Wink. Son of a bitch. Real good son of a bitch swindler. Everyone, whether you grew up in the inner city or you grew up rich, there's always a Wink type that you grew up with that you don't really like, but every once in a while you're like, all right, I'll try it. You're
Oh
open to the
man,
suggestion.
I parked Ray Allen's car the other day.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Taryn Manning as Janine. She's only in like 3 scenes. She's pretty good in them. Interesting to note here, she's also in Britney Spears' movie from 2002 called Crossroads.
You also might know her as Pensacola from Orange is the New Black.
Yes, indeedy. Chloe Greenfield as Lily, who did a couple TV things after this, but I don't think she acts anymore. That is, of course, Eminem's sister in this movie, she's probably like 8 in this.
Mhm.
Michael Shannon as Greg Buell, who, again, is only in like 2 scenes, but he's fucking great in the 2 scenes he's in.
And I found this earlier that the original choice to play Greg, Gary Sinise.
Who would have been great in that role
Yeah.
too, because he's always great. He would have looked older than
Yeah.
Michael Shannon does.
Also, every other line would have been, "Won't someone think of the troops?"
Goo, Anthony Mackie as Papa Doc, aka Clarence. This is his first real role. He had an uncredited TV appearance before this. This is his first fucking role ever, and it's 8 Mile, playing essentially the villain of 8 Mile. That's fucking epic.
Gary Sinise also loves the moon. It's like a split. Those are his two, favorite things.
Some cameos here, and like the rappers here. We have Strike Sanders as Lickety Split.
Question for you:
This is the fella who has cornrows and the headband, not jacked.
Also, he got jobbed during his rap at the end. We'll talk about that at the end, though.
I don't know if I agree, but it's closer than I'd
Future
like to
kind of
admit.
swayed the audience, but let's.
It's close to no. Eminem swayed the audience with his pale
No,
ass.
Future gave him a little bit of push.
Eminem had the home field advantage. I'll
Okay.
admit that.
But let me also ask you, out of everyone here, out of all the rappers,
Mhm.
Lickety Split might be the worst name, right?
I don't mind Lickety Split. I
I
don't
don't
mind
like
it.
Lickety Split.
We have Nishan Ox Breedlove as Lotto. This is the fellow with the cornrows, but jacked in the wife beater. He's the second battle at the
Snoop
end.
Dogg got a boob job.
Yeah.
Now, you've already kind of said this is that your rapping name would have been White Chocolate.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like like I've had several
I think I
nicknames.
could do J Mac too. And now there's a famous porn star with that who stole my thunder.
What do you think? Do you think Big Ragu or Rooster is better?
Rooster's way better.
Rooster
Rooster's
is
way
good.
fucking better. Yeah.
Or
Rooster could
the
work.
remember
You
the
can get
week
street cred with Rooster.
remember the week where I was the big gay horseshoe crab?
You're the big gay horseshoe crab. Shamu could have worked too.
Oh, I was
Shamu would have
Shamu at the
worked.
time.
Yeah. Shamu would have worked.
I think Rooster is the best of the
I
bunch,
think
though.
Rooster is the best too. Get
Yeah.
on Twitter and vote about Goo's rap name.
Guys, tell us right now. What do you think my best rap name was? Come on.
M's boy Proof, who Future is based off of, plays Lil Tick. That's the guy at the very beginning of the movie who Eminem chokes against. Obi Trice cameos as one of the
Real
parking
name,
lot
no
rappers.
gimmicks, but yes.
Yep. Exhibit is the lunch truck rapper that gets put down by Eminem. Great scene.
That I would say that out of all of the like random around the corner rap battles, that's my
Mhm.
favorite one just for the line of look at those boots, they're growing roots.
By the way, if you are maybe like 12 or 15 years older than us, so maybe you were like 25 when this movie came out and maybe Eminem missed you, I don't know. I still recommend this movie. I still think it's like a pretty good drama with good pacing.
So
I think it's a good movie outside of the Eminem stuff.
let me ask you a question though, because the movie seems to be lost on my wife. Is
Mhm.
this WPS?
White people shit?
Yeah.
I don't know if it is because Eminem's not white people shit.
Because I mean, it also might even be more pigeonholed into being WBS, white boy shit.
Yeah, but we went. So I guess it'll be more white people because half the girls we went to school with also loved
Yeah.
this. Maybe you had to see it in 2002 to like it as much as we do. I think it's a legit good movie.
No, I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I'm honestly surprised that Batty doesn't like it.
Yeah, I was watching it last night. She's like, what are you watching? It's terrible. And I'm like,
Ugh,
first
come
off, how
on.
haven't you seen
Fuck
this?
you. You should have closed
Take
the
it
door
easy.
on her.
Take it easy.
Don't tell her I said that.
Can you cut this from the podcast?
Goo, the music in this movie, like I alluded to before, is spot on. I love how at the beginning, the Jimmy related stuff, they show him writing a little bit, how it's like incomplete rhymes.
Oh, you know that
He's
that
building
scrap
towards
piece
a
of
song.
paper was sold for $10,000?
Yeah, I got it later, Goo, you fuck.
Well, I didn't.
You
First
ruined my
off, your
fun
notes
facts.
are fucking TLDR. The way too many notes.
Just fucking know that I covered everything. How about that?
All right, fine.
But yes, on the bus, when you see him scribbling there at the beginning, was the actual paper that he wrote Lose Yourself to. That ended up selling for $10,000 on eBay in like 2006 or something like that. Yeah, the soundtrack outside of the Eminem stuff is awesome. It takes you back to like 94, 95. Some of the best songs from that era. Great hip hop music,
Well, then
especially when they go into the clubs.
all of the original songs on the soundtrack too are great.
Yeah.
So you have, I think, 3 or 4 Eminem songs. You have Wankster, but
Yeah.
Wanksta, is it A or ER?
What up, Wanksta?
Well, no, it's something. You a Wanksta. It's 50 Cent.
Yeah.
No, it's not What Up, Wanksta. It's not that one. It's the other one. It's the first one.
Okay.
What, do you not know the song?
No, I'm hearing it in my head. I thought they were the same song.
No, it's the first song that made him famous. Like, this is where 50 Cent broke with this song.
Sing it again.
Da 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 da. You say
You
you
know
were
you want
pop.
That's not the same song?
No, and I haven't heard that song in a long time. I think
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
making up
you're
the
right.
words right now.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Okay. How
It's
about
also
that?
a good Exhibit song on there. There's a good Jay-Z song on there. So
Score one for Goo.
yeah.
Infamously, Goo, on set, they needed a couple people for the rap battles during the movie. They held open auditions to pick 3 or 4 extras to end up being in the rap battles, which I just thought was really cool. You can see some of that on the DVD. Some of the extra features, they show some of those rap battles. Goo, Lose Yourself won the best Oscar for, or won the Oscar for Best Original Song, first rap song to ever win, and that actually opened up. There's been a few rap songs since. I think that really legitimized rap, at least in the eyes of the Academy, which is fucking weird. And also, notoriously, Eminem didn't show up because he didn't think he had a chance of winning, and ended up performing that song in 2020 at the Oscars. So that's a nice little tidbit there. And oddly enough, Goo, I think because especially his first album is a lot more rap and less hooks. Lose Yourself became his first legit #1 hit overall, not on the rap charts, but overall. So that's a fun fact there. The movie soundtrack went to #1 and was the 5th best selling album of 2002, despite only having 2 months, November and December. So that's pretty good. We talked about the paper getting sold. This movie made $51 million on its opening weekend, becoming #1 at the box office, beating Goo's third favorite movie of all time, The Santa Claus 2. What do you think about that?
Well, my first favorite is Santa Claus 3, of course.
Yeah, right. And then second would be The Santa Claus, the first one.
I love the Santa Clauses, and my favorite TV show is the Santa Claus show that's on right now.
Sure, that's a thing. Definitely, I knew about. Also, 51 million, the second highest opening for an R-rated movie ever, behind Hannibal at that point, anyways. And then it got beat out in its second week, Goo, by Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Also, a movie I very much enjoyed when I was 13 years old. Speaking of the DVD, I found out this week that I no longer own this movie and/or I can't find it. This was one of the first DVDs I ever owned, and I was a little sad to learn that I couldn't find it.
So I still do own this DVD. It's in my attic, but I did not want to plug my PS5 in.
Sure.
So I went ahead and I just rented it for $4.
Yeah, I did the same thing from Prime, and it's also only streaming for free on Stars,
which is ridiculous.
I don't know how that happened. It was on Netflix at some point. I definitely remember that.
By the way, DVD sales max $75 million,
Massive.
and I think one of the reasons why is because it had Superman, the music video, on there.
Yeah, if you never got a chance to watch the Superman music video, do you think you can watch that online now? Has someone uploaded that?
Mariah, Drive Through Twice.
It's like an X-rated music video. It's pretty nudie.
And then
it features porn star Gina Lynn, and it's the whole keyhole stuff. I was a big fan of it.
There's a big old orgy scene too.
To own the DVD there. Yeah. So for the extra rap battles, but for the naked Gina Lynn.
Mainly. I mean, I mainly bought it for the 2 sex scenes and the music video. Also, I think what this movie deserves the most credit for is spawning Malibu's Most Wanted and a new canned spaghetti sauce.
There you go.
Mom's Spaghetti.
That? Yeah. And then he had that pop-up a couple years ago where he actually served Mom's Spaghetti, which is pretty good.
When I get to the octagon or the decagon, whatever we call this now.
But whatever number we got in here now.
All right, Mac, fun factor. And the real fun here is the battles. Specifically, I would say the shelter battles.
I had a blast rewatching this whole thing. And I think part of it is because I remember back to like being a 13-year-old kid. Like this movie, and there's movies that do this for certain time periods in your life. Like The Lion King brings me back to being like 5 years old and being traumatized. This brings me back to being like 13 years old, talking to people on AIM, like that sort of shit. So that part is fun.
Satisfactor. Really, there might be nothing more satisfying in movie history than the final battle.
I'm not even exaggerating. This is one of the most satisfying endings to a movie ever. It's so fucking satisfying.
And really, like the breadcrumbs were there when he's in the club and he's like, and he hears a girl say, "Oh, his real name's Clarence." He's like, "Clarence?" He went to Pembroke.
That was like when they were in like someone's basement or some shit.
Oh, it was in someone's basement. Sorry.
Yeah, it was before that. And then right before the final rap battle, Cheddar Bob's like, "Are you worried what he's going to say about you? How like Wink fucked your bitch and all that?" And then he starts thinking. So credit to Cheddar Bob there.
Cheddar Bob.
The alley
always
right
there. Borometer. And I guess I had a little more bore than obviously when I was younger, just going from point A to the end, point B. And I might have been I wasn't annoyed, but like them just playing up them winning this one rap battle as being life or death. And then it ended up really meaning nothing.
You're missing the whole thing, Gil. You're missing the message behind 8 Mile.
Like how it's just how obsessed he
It's
is with
about
it.
small victories.
Okay, small. Okay, fine, whatever. Fuck you.
Not an ounce of bore in here for me. I unabashedly love this movie.
Oh
I
my god.
recognize it's incredibly predictable
Yeah.
and it's not overly complicated, but I think it's actually paced
And
extremely
also,
well.
uh, and this might play into like a different one of our things here, but like when they try to get a little more complicated with like, talking about like the Detroit landscape and like, the guy who are the lady and all that stuff, and then they burn down the house.
Yeah, in.
Okay, all right.
You don't want to burn down
Aquator.
a house when you were 13?
Aquator. It's better than Aquaman.
It is
Halloween,
much better.
compared to the first time I saw this, I think I had it when I was like a 40 when I first saw it at 13. So yeah, it's waned a little bit.
I guess a little bit, but it is it's a legit movie I get Shawshank by every time. So it really has it.
Plemonade, Mac. When life gives you plemons, you make plemonade. And I guess I'll go with Brittany Murphy here, but I also really liked how whenever anybody insulted Future, Mekhi Phifer's face. Like, huh?
Brittany Murphy provides like the perfect love interest slash foil in this, but the Plemonade for me is Cheddar Bob. Bob, all time great character. Everyone's got a Cheddar Bob in their crew too, and if you don't know who the Cheddar Bob in your crew is, then you're the Cheddar Bob.
All right, Mac. We added X Factor last week, but that's kind of stupid. I'm going to throw that one away. Let's do something I like to call instead wrapped up real nice. Whose story was wrapped up the best?
Not gonna answer this, Gil.
I'm going to say his mom. She won big. She's got $3,200.
Which is like 5,500 in today's cash. It's a lot of
And
cash
in,
for a
and in
trailer park.
Detroit, that's like 1.3 million.
Could buy a house even today.
Could buy 2 trailers and stack them on top of each other.
Quick double wide. Oh, you're talking double decker couch style.
Yeah, but trailer. Max Credit Union, who are you giving credit to?
It's got to be Eminem. Again, he's in every scene of the movie. He doesn't get a nomination for this. I think if he was more well liked at the time, if there wasn't as much controversy surrounding him with his lyrics and his personal life, I think he would have garnered a nomination, like the last nomination in a year.
I don't know if I would go that far, but I would also say that I think he's very good in this.
Yeah, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Pants Tent City. Excite Bike Mania. What in this movie got you going? And for me, it's just, besides the sex scenes, the rapping at the shelter is just like the beginning. Even the first guy that he battles, he's pretty good. But those last 3 rap battles is just, it's Martin Scorsese cinema.
I'll say baseline, every rapping scene, every the little like underlying score that's in half the movie. But my biggest pants tent scene, other than the sex scenes, because that's pretty clear, is the Chin Tiki's line when they're rapping in the parking lot. 10 freaky girls, 10 freaky girls. My favorite scene in the whole movie. So good.
I'm surprised you don't do that more.
I can't tell you how many times I've done that in real life, and maybe Morty will pick up on it. Almost no one picks up on what I'm referencing. And I'm like, how? How do you not know what I'm referencing?
For those of you tardy to the Mac and Goo Party, we rate everything on a 40 hot dog rating system. And I would say truly one of 10 movies growing up that like had a real influence on me. Something that walking out, I'm like, I'm going to be a rapper. I'm going to rap battle everyone I see now.
Young roosters going through.
I'm going to buy a dictionary. I'm going to buy a thesaurus. No one's going to stop me.
Oh, man.
I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, how can I take aim at myself?
Mm-hmm.
What are my enemies going to look at me and say, I'm going to get myself first. I'm going to make sure of this. This movie is great. I'm not sure the last time that I saw this full movie prior to watching it yesterday, but I have at least seen these rap battles at least once a year since. Like, I have gone out of my way to watch the final half hour, and it is just that's my favorite stuff. Like the final rap battles, and like I said, Future kind of sways the audience a little bit, but I fucking love it. I love it so much. The in-between scenes might not have had the same effect as me on me as they might have in the past. So I'm looking at like 30 34.
Oh my God, Goo. That is too
I
low.
came into this with 33, but you've really opened my eyes again.
I think 34 is like baseline pretty good. So
A
at least
B.
you
It's a
give it
B.
that.
I think it's a B. Yes.
I'm trying to be realistic about this.
No, you're
Now,
not. No,
there's a
you are
clear
not. I'm
bias
looking
coming
at
in
your
here.
shit here. You're not being
There's a
realistic.
clear bias in here from White Chocolate. But even if you look back at lists from 2002, like 10 best movies, this was on a lot of people's lists. Um, I'm trying to look back versus, in its era in 2002. The Two Towers 40 Dog movie, no doubt. Best movie of the year, I think. You have Minority Report, which was pretty close. Roughly a 40 Dog movie for me. I fucking love that movie. Catch Me If You Can, probably better than this. Other than those three, which were our three other nominees when we did the vault for this year, I would probably take this movie over every other movie from that year.
Oh,
You
we
do have
forgot to give it credit for spawning Yo Mama with Wilmer Valderrama and Wild and Out.
You had Road to Perdition, which some people love as an all-timer, no doubt, but I would prefer this. You had the first Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man came out that year. Signs, great movie. Insomnia. So I think it's in the conversation for best, probably top 6 or 7 on the year. For
Catch
me,
Me If
it's
You
top
Can come out that
4.
year?
Yeah, 2002.
Yeah.
I have this at 38 hot dogs, Goo. It's not an all-timer, but in any given year, it could finish in the top 3
No,
or
but
4.
for you, is it an all-timer?
Yeah, like no doubt. But like if I were to make a list of 100 greatest movies, this wouldn't be anywhere near the top 40 or
But
50.
also, can you name me another movie that you walked out being like, that's what I want to do?
I would be hard pressed to come up with one higher on that list than this one. Again, separate from the Eminem stuff and the White Chocolate stuff, the pacing's phenomenal. The drama's great. The music is awesome. It perfectly defines and captures like 2002. I think it's a great movie. Goo thinks it's a very good movie or a pretty good movie.
No, but
38
I
hot
also
dogs.
think the bookends of it are fucking amazing.
And,
Even the
and you
first
know
scene of
me,
him, even the
this is
first,
what it is more than anything, Goo. I am a sucker for a satisfying conclusion, and this is the most satisfying.
yes, but even the beginning with him, not being able to go on stage, choke, choke, choke.
All right, well, let's get to the timeline then. How
Yes.
about that?
Also, this really isn't spoilers. If you haven't seen this movie,
Yeah,
get
came out
out.
fucking 22
Get out.
years ago. We opened Detroit 1995. You hear Shook Ones in the background. See B Rabbit in the bathroom mirror, kind of like trying to get it together. Fucking throws up, vomits on his sweater. The bouncer won't let him back in until Future vouches for him. So you're like, even the people at the shelter don't want Jimmy there. We find out his ex-girlfriend has claimed she's pregnant. He gave her the car. He's going to move back in with his mom at 8 Mile. We kind of figure out Papa Doc's like the king of the shelter. He's the host. You see the choke, choke, choke line, and that sets.
Papa Doc's not the host. Future's the host.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Papa Doc's the king. Future's the host. That sets the characters like down a very good path for the rest of the movie. When he finally gets back to his mom's trailer, he walks in on his mom riding Cowgirl on Greg Buell. Great scene. And you sent a perfect thing. What did
Let
you
me
see?
see. It was from Cinema Sins. Let me grab the exact quote here. What did they say? Cinema Sins is a pretty good take up of this movie. I got rid of it to not have a naked butt on my. 1 second.
Okay.
No.
The gist of it was.
I have it from your text. Give me a
Okay.
second.
All right.
All right. Cinema said, also, it's not like Jimmy's quiet as he walks in there, but his mom doesn't even turn around to see who's coming in the front door as she's letting someone else come in her front door.
Yeah, Greg's the one that notices. She keeps riding. It's fucking incredible.
Yeah. Also, him and Greg Buell went to the same school.
Yeah, but Greg was 3 years older. Again, Kim Basinger is great as White Trash in this. We meet his sister Lily. Then we meet Wink, who's promising Jimmy the world. He's an over-promiser, under-deliverer, just classic. Also, we figure out that Wink doesn't really like the shelter, probably because no one at the shelter really likes Wink. Then we meet Brittany Murphy's Alex outside the factory. And also one of my sneaky favorite scenes is the double bird because he's trying to flip off his boss, flips her off, she flips it back. Right then and there, you're like, oh, Alex gets it. I'm in on Alex. And then Goo, my second favorite scene of the movie, outside of the Chin Tiki scene, the Sweet Home Alabama remix. My name is Jimmy. His name is Greg Buell. Me, him, and you, we went to the same school. And
It's okay.
Future hits the school the same time that Jimmy does because he gets it. He understands rap. You know, he knows what's coming.
Yeah, it's that Kid Rock song, right?
I live at home in a trailer. We find out Wink and Future fucking hate each other. We get a couple Biggie, Tupac references, which is always fun. Again, the freestyle circle outside of the Chin Tiki is my favorite scene in the whole movie. I quote it way too many times. No one ever understands what the fuck I'm quoting. They get in a quick fight with the free world there. Cheddar Bob yells, yeah, fuck the free world. And this is where we get the first instance of you need to take your white ass back across 8 Mile. Another thing that I quote all the fucking time.
Yeah, but
I say
so
almost every day.
also in this movie, Future keeps on telling Jimmy that as soon as Jimmy wins a rap battle, 313 or the 313, is that what their group's called?
Yeah, 313.
Then it's easy living for them. Like,
No.
that's it. As soon as this happens, their reputation's through the roof. I don't
No.
know if it did anything.
I think you're putting words in Future's mouth right there.
I'm not. That's exactly what he said.
And then we get a couple minutes later the scene where Eminem pulls the Yui, gets out and starts to fight with Free World. That's when Cheddar Bob shoots himself in the leg. And we get the scene of the car where he asks Jimmy if MC Bob is a good rap name. Back at work, Jimmy smokes exhibit at that lunch truck, and that makes Alex so moist they gotta immediately run into the factory and fuck.
I will say that Cinema Sins also did a great take-up of like, so for a break, you get 30 minutes. He waited in line to get his deviled eggs for so long. Then he went outside and did a rap battle. Then he had sex for what feels like forever. How long are these breaks?
It was probably about 30 minutes. Probably
You think
timed it
you
out
can
well.
cram that all in 30 minutes?
He did like 10, 10, 10.
I don't,
I don't even know if he got to eat, actually. He was probably pretty hungry that day, especially after sex.
Starts gnawing on those boiled eggs that are from the vending machine. Disgusting.
And then not too many minutes later, he fucking finally makes it to the studio to meet Wink. What does he find, Goo? His boy Wink fucking his girl Alex.
Which they had to know what was going on because they knew Jimmy was coming.
Excuse me.
I know, you must have threw up.
That's how upset this makes me. Yeah, I think this was a little bit of Alex testing B Rabbit here. Like, I know he might catch us, but this is fun for me. As a 13-year-old, I was irrationally upset in the theater. I was like, how dare he, motherfucker. I was
wrecked. I was pissed. I was kind of aroused, though.
And then minutes later, we get like the scariest scene, quote unquote, of the movie, where the free world with a Wink holding a fucking ice pack on his face comes and beats the shit out of him in front of his little sister, which is like hard to watch.
That's the man who beat me up.
She's screaming Jimmy from the trailer. It's like hard to watch. It's not great.
I don't like that scene though. It's like, Wink, grow up.
Yeah, seriously.
You gotta have your friends beat him up. Yeah,
Wink deserved his beating.
Wink, if you want to fight him, fight him.
Yeah, fight like a man. His mom wins bingo, 3,200. Huzzah! They're gonna get a double-decker couch.
How much money is she putting into the pot that she's gonna get 3,200?
I don't know. It must be a massive banquet hall that they're doing bingo in, because that is a lot of money.
Yeah.
The combination of him getting his ass beat and then running into Alex again and her kind of taunting him about not going back to the shelter finally motivates him enough to go back and redeem himself. So we set the scene for like the final act at the shelter. And this is where you took a note here from a Papa Doc line.
Oh. At this point, we should have all said, maybe Papa Doc isn't a great insult rapper. He said to Cheddar Bob and to Jimmy, it looks like a handicap convention in here.
Yeah, he really smoked them.
You're going to think of anything more clever? You're the 3-time champ of this rap battle.
I don't know why you keep saying 3 either. I don't know where you're getting that number from.
It's at least 3.
I bet it's like a month. Yeah, I'd say probably.
If it's a month, he doesn't have to do it anymore. What's he doing?
I think he's gonna retire from battle rapping.
His friend with the glasses suggested that he retired after winning it once.
Goo, first battle rap on the evening. He gets lickety split, and the whole audience is like, "Oh, this almost seems like lickety split was maybe underseeded." I don't know how they do the seedings. Might have been some controversy back in '95. Lickety split, pretty good job, but Eminem uses his own line against him at the end of his and walks his white ass back across 8 Mile. I think that's what puts Eminem over the top.
But the crowd didn't understand that reference.
Yeah, they did.
They didn't know that callback. It was a callback to something earlier in the movie.
No, lickety split says it in his rap.
Did it?
Yeah, he does.
All right, my bad on that.
Yeah.
But I would also say that as soon as Eminem, sorry, it's not Eminem. As soon as Jimmy finished his rap, Future just immediately like, that's it, it's
Well,
over.
the crowd's roaring because he just showed his white ass.
Because he just finished his rap.
Oh,
You
crowd
gotta
was
let people
roaring.
no. You
He
gotta
beat
give
Lickety.
people no. You gotta give people 30 seconds. Take a step back. Consider the first rap. Think about it, and
Walk
then
away,
all right, guys.
smoke a
Let's see.
butt, come back in.
Let's see a show of hands for
A lot of
Lickety Splits.
downtime at the shelter.
Let's see a show of hands for B Rabbit.
No,
I
Lickety
think
got
I could
that
host
one.
this. I
It
think
was
I could host
close.
this.
Don't get me wrong, it was close. Lickety got it. And then he's faced up against Lotto, who is also got cornrows, but is more jacked.
He's a
he gets
worm
hit-
with braids.
He gets hit with the leave it to Beaver line, and
Yeah.
then at the end of that, he's like, "Oh, the leave it to Beaver line almost killed me." But he spins it back on him, Goo, which is obviously a common theme leading up to his final battle with Papa Doc. He said, "I think you were a little hard on the Beaver. So is Eddie Haskell, Wally, and Miss Cleaver," pointing to the free world, which is a great fucking line. And then he basically tells him he's a roided out freak. And he's also like, "You're saying the same shit he did, aka you don't have anything else on me." And then he beats him. Then we set up for what is like such a satisfying moment that Papa Doc is like, "Let this bitch go first."
Like, I can't even think of any Rocky movie, any like Karate Kid, any Final Showdown, USA versus Russia in Miracle, Mighty Ducks. I can't think of anything more important than this one final rap battle.
And it starts so perfectly. Now, while he stands tough, notice that this man did not have his hands up. It's like perfect. Fuck the free world
Well, he
313.
started with a chant.
Yeah.
If you want to win a rap battle, just fucking chant. Lock
I am
her
white.
up.
I am a fucking
Lock
buck.
her
I
up.
do live in a trailer with my mom. My boy Future is an Uncle Tom. I do got a dumb friend named Cheddar Bob who shoots himself in his leg with his own gun. I did get jumped by all 6 of you chumps. And Wink did fuck my girl. I'm still standing here screaming, "Fuck the free world!" Seminal moment in my lifetime.
But then he brings it back though.
Yeah. But I know something about
about
you. So good. The way
Yeah.
he says it, it's so good.
Went to
And Clarence
Cranbrook.
Parent-
It's a private school.
And Clarence's parents have a real nice marriage.
And everyone's like,
So good.
boo, fuck you, you suck.
It's so good. It's so fucking good.
Like,
So
what an
satisfying.
insult. Oh, your parents love each other.
But
You
that's
only
like,
have one Christmas, you loser.
it's so good. Fuck the free world. 313. And then he exchanges the bird with Alex again. Then we get to your favorite line in the movie where Iz tells him, "You the man now, dog. You ain't gotta work."
And he's like, no, I didn't make any money off that. I need to go
And
make
then-
money.
I love right after he says that, the beginning of Lose Yourself starts playing, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Nah, I gotta go back to work." And he starts walking down the alley, and Lose Yourself plays us out in the theater. Fucking amazing.
And he jumps in the air with his hand up and it goes into a freeze frame.
The final, yeah, you're right. The final like 20 minutes of this movie is just fucking 8,000 hot dogs. It's so fucking good. It's so good.
I think I'm good with the B. I think that
I'll put it this way. I tried really hard to not give this 40 hot dogs. I was very objective. 38 hot dogs. That's pretty good.
Let's get into Max.
yeah, and Max, that could be anything. That could be a boat. And Mac, as the weather gets hotter, we are coming upon freeze pop season.
Mhm.
So I need to ask you, there are 6 colors in a box, the old traditional box whatever you want to call them, freeze pops, otter pops,
Ice pops.
ice pops. Tell me, which colors are you going to first? I don't even care what the flavors are because there's an argument always, well, that's blue raz or that's cotton candy, that's tropical
Oh,
punch,
no. No, no,
watermelon.
no. The flavor is the color.
Yeah, the
That's
flavor is the color.
yeah, no doubt about that. To me, there's a clear top 3,
Mhm.
and I don't know. I actually haven't had a freeze pop in so long, so I'm not confident what my
I
number
just
1 is.
bought them, so yes.
But blue, green, and pink clearly head and shoulders above the other 3.
No, no, no. I
Yeah.
think the clear 2 that are above the other 3 is blue and pink.
Oh, see, I would lean if James gun to my head, Sean gun to my balls, I'd go green and blue with pink third.
Want to hear me out real quick?
Okay.
I think that green is the licorice of freeze pops. You either love it or you hate it.
That's probably purple.
Purple, I believe, is delicious because it tastes like medicine.
It's the worst flavor though.
I think that it's better than red, though. I think that
No.
red, hear me out, shut the fuck up. Red
R-
is the most consistent flavor. Like, you know what you're getting with red,
No.
but it's never one that I'm seeking out.
Red is clearly 4th ahead of orange that is clearly 5th. Purple is clearly 6th. And in my homes as a child, purple and orange were always the last 2. I still like them, but clearly the bottom 2.
In my parents' home right now, from when I was a child, there are still green ones.
Oh, I'm going over there tomorrow. I know what I'm
You can
doing.
have those 20-year-old freeze pops.
Probably still good, right?
And also, I think that orange and red are closer than what you're making them out to be. I think they're
No,
pretty
4th and
similar.
5th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
4th and 5th, but you can flip
Yeah.
them.
I wouldn't flip them. I think red's better than orange, but I think they're clearly 4th and 5th. You could make that the middle tier if you want.
Now, I'll
Purple's
even say this
clearly
is
the
that
bottom
I
tier.
prefer pink over blue, but I'll give you the edge of blue over pink because those are the 2 best. Those
So
those 2 blow my
we were
mind.
gonna make our list, blue would be number 1 then.
Yes.
Our combined list. And then pink would be number 2. Where would you rank green on
So
your
green would be my last one, but because you have it number 2, it would end up being 3 probably.
But it might be number 1 on my list.
So yeah,
So
it'd
it
be
probably
3.
would be 3. And then red and orange would be 4th and 5th in some order. And then purple. Red and orange would be tied for 4th, actually.
Because I have purple, I think, at 3.
Oh, what?
I like purple a lot.
At 3, though?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
It tastes
Jesus
like
Christ.
medicine, and I love medicine.
I'll tell you what, we would be a good split, though, if we had to eat freeze pops together.
Yeah,
'Cause
oh,
you could
no,
take,
if
you
we
could take blue. We would get half the pinks.
okay, so say
You'd get
if we
blue,
opened a
I'd
box.
get green.
Say if we opened a box of 24.
Yep.
Let's say how many? So there's 6 flavors. So let's say if we had a box of 18. This works out perfect. If
3
we open the
flavors each.
box,
No, make it an even number. Make it
no,
24.
let's make it an odd number. Wait for it.
Okay.
So if it was an odd number, we'd open the box. You would get 2 blues. I would get 2 pinks. We'd each get 1 of each. Then you would get all 3 greens. I would get all 3 purples, and then we would work out the rest.
That might work.
Yeah, the math
might
works out pretty well.
It might. It might.
I'm also saying that most likely they're going to sell them in a 24 pack. So that was kind of pointless.
If it was, I would like one of every flavor, though. Let me make that clear.
Oh.
Yeah.
But you don't like purple.
No, I like purple. It's just clearly 6th.
You just talked about it, but you fucking hated purple.
No, I said it's clearly 6th. I like it, though.
I know.
I just like it
something
less.
About you.
I like them all. It's like Skittles. I like them all. Purple's just clearly the worst one.
How'd you eat them? Did you like mash them up first and then like eat them as a fine slush?
You know what I really liked was taking an extra long cut of the top and eating that little bite at first. You know,
Mhm.
like a little Costco taste teaser right there. You know.
What I used to do as a kid, and this makes no sense. So you usually buy them when they are just juice.
Yeah.
You put them in the freezer, they freeze over. And then what I would do is
that's how science works. Yeah.
no, but then I would take them out of the freezer and wait until they turned back into juice and then drink it.
No, I did like though if you grabbed like 6 or 8 because you're not just getting like 2, you're getting a handful in a paper towel, and by like the 3rd one, the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th ones are getting pretty juicy. So you're getting like a different texture with each freeze pop as you go along.
Would you ever mix the colors?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, did that quite a few. Sometimes I would intentionally not drink the bottom bits of juice, and then by the end make one long thing of juice.
You are a mad scientist.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So head over to Twitter right now. Tell us your favorite freeze pops. Tell us what you think our rap name should be, and then just, tell Goo that you're sorry that he threw up yesterday
And I bet in 2002 I ate a shit ton of freeze pops.
while watching 8 Mile.
Yeah, guaranteed.
MC Freeze Pop.
It's a terrible name. I think Rooster's your best name.
All right, thank you. Head over. I just did that. Mac, where can the people find us?
You can find us on Twitter and on Instagram at Mac and Goo Podcast, every other platform. We're Mac ampersand Goo. It's Mac Shift 7 Goo. That includes Facebook, Stitcher, TuneIn, Casper, Spreaker, Google Play, iHeartRadio. We're on Spotify, but more importantly, we're on Apple Podcasts. Get on there, rate, review, subscribe, 5 stars. If you do that, we'll get you a free t-shirt from the folks over at Watertown Sportswear. That's Watertown Sportswear, 34 Maud Auburn Street in Watertown, watertownsportswear.com, expert screen printing and embroidery.
tpublic.com.
Merch.
I think the biggest news that came out of this past weekend is Meatball Summer is back.
I have had multiple meatball subs since I saw you tweet out meatball subs.
I have a feeling that when I eat my meatball subs this summer, it's going to be all homemade ones because I think I make them better than most stores.
I would agree that you can make a better one at home than like 95% of restaurants. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I love my sauce. I love my balls.
Just the add effect. Some places do it. The add effect that if you just put a little garlic butter and turn it into like a pseudo garlic bread with the meatball sub, just puts it over top.
But also, and not every place does this. Most places will. Provolone. Then you go like a nice Romano and mozzarella.
I like a blanket of provolone.
Yeah.
Sometimes the mutts, but definitely for sure the sprinkle, the pecorino romano.
Got to do it.
Yeah.
Gotta do it. Oh, Parmesan. Sorry, not mozzarella. It's Parmesan.
I like the pecorino romano.
I do both. I'm unstoppable. So, guys, tweet us out your photos of meatball subs all summer long. And also, I forget who asked me. They're like, wait a second, isn't this the spring? No, summer started when Dune 2 hit the theaters.
Summer kind of starts this week. We're getting 80 degrees this week, Goo.
Damn straight.
Dang.
ACs will be going up. I'm going to try and not drop it out my window.
Good luck.
So, Tuesdays are Goose Days. I abuse kangaroos.
Bye.
Tim Burton.
Please flip the cassette over to side B to continue the adventure.